to the Sly Fox Tavern. This is Talking Football. I'm Pat Fox, and our special guest tonight is head coach of the Glenbard West. What is your name, Chad? The Hilltoppers?
Yeah, the school's the Hilltoppers, but the football team has gone by the Hitters for a number of years, named after a Vietnam War veteran that actually was roommates with Dick Butkus at Illinois. And so we've gone by that name since the 60s, 70s.
All right. So, and here's our guy, Chad Hetlet. Now, Chad and I, we've been friends for about 10 years now. One of my favorite people to talk football with. Welcome to the Sly Fox Tavern, my man. Thanks for giving
Foxy.
me time. How you doing in lockdown?
You know, trying to stay busy, keeping a schedule, I think is been the toughest part. You know, I have a 12-year-old son, and you know, I think it's been really difficult just to stay on schedule. But, you know, we've managed it. You know, the other thing is the connection with the football players, you know, miss seeing them, I haven't seen them since March 13th. So it's been really tough from that standpoint.
Are you doing anything with your kids online right now?
We are, we're sending out, we have weekly meetings, Zoom meetings.
Yep.
And starting to implement our offense and defensive stuff with our varsity players. And we've continued a workout plan, but we've had to adjust numerous times just because some kids have some equipment, some kids don't. Obviously, gyms are closed. So, you know, staying in contact with them that way. Most importantly, you know, from a mental aspect so that they know that we're here to support them because, you know, they're wondering what's going on, just like everyone else.
Absolutely. Listen, how'd you get to Glenbard West?
You know, I was in the north suburbs my entire career. Started coaching in '94 at Libertyville High School, and then went to Johnsburg from '95 to 2003. I was a defensive coordinator under a Hall of Fame coach, Bob Bradshaw, where I really learned, you know, how to coach the game, and was fortunate enough to be his D coordinator those years, and took over for him as the head coach in 2003 at Johnsburg, and then took a head coaching job at a bigger high school right next door at McHenry. It was like triple the size school, and was there for a couple of years, and then was asked to go down into the western suburbs at some larger schools with a buddy, actually a guy, Mike DiMatteo, who I coached against, who was at Lake Zurich, took the head job at Hinsdale Central. I went down to Hinsdale Central to be his DC and in the western suburbs. And Glenbard West was in the league and was really struggling. I had like 2 winning seasons in the last decade, and it only made the playoffs once. So I saw their freshman class, and the job opened up, and you know, really jumped on it. And since 2007, we really took off. We had some amazing players, you know, and some outstanding coaches that were there, and you know, it just kind of all took off from there.
That's outstanding. Youngest coach in the state to get to 100 wins, I read today. That's pretty outstanding. Top 10 program in the state of Illinois. I read that. You're doing outstanding. Who else is in your league, my man?
Hinsdale Central.
That's where those 3 centers at Michigan State are from, right?
The Allen brothers. Yeah.
God bless them.
Yeah. Yeah, they're as tough as they come.
They are.
Hinsdale Central's produced a number of Division I players. Oak Park River Forest as well has produced a number of Division I players each year. Lyons Township, and these schools are all three, you know, right around 3,000 to 4,000 enrollment. And Downers Grove North, Proviso West, and York Township.
Okay. Excellent league. Excellent league. Listen, we're going to talk a little scheme tonight, and you know, you and I played around a little bit beforehand. I'm going to try to hand the screen over to you. What are you going to talk about tonight?
I'm going to talk about our unbalanced offensive sets when we check at the line of scrimmage with Jet, and how we use the numbers to kind of manipulate the defense into thinking we're unbalanced to one side and run it the other, but just how we check at the line of scrimmage with just the formation that we really like a lot.
Okay. Why don't you try to share your screen? It's got you listed as the host. See if that'll do it for you.
Okay.
Here we go. Beautiful. So walk me through this.
Yeah, so I've just got a kind of a generic defense drawn up there. So when we would come up there to the line of scrimmage, let me get this pointer here. When we would come up to the line of scrimmage, we'd take a look at the numbers on the perimeter. You know,
Okay.
if we're running jet sweep. So let's just say we're running jet sweep here. So we're going to take a look at when this split that we have here is that nasty wicked split there. It's 4 yards from the tackle to that tight end. And our two ends are going to be like dual. They're going to be right next to each other in a 3-point stance. And so what we'll do is we'll take a look at the numbers. You know, we always want to run to our numbers, and we try to see if they're going to adjust or not adjust, or what their adjustment might be with the jet motion. Once we go in motion one way or the other, if, you know, I've already got them in a single high safety, you know, generally we're going to see single high safety whether they start in it or not. So they end up in a single high safety and spinning a guy down. So in this particular formation, we like a lot because the way we're going to count it is if we're looking to the strong side with these guys, and really we're going to do a pin and pull concept with these guys here. We're not going to try to reach it and zone it. We're going to take these guys and we're going to take the first guy to their inside, to our Y here, and we're going to go and we're going to look. If this guy all of a sudden was moved up on the line of scrimmage, you know, for example, if they had their strong safety and had put him up, if they had him, they have him up on the line of scrimmage right there.
Guy's on a diet.
He just lost a bunch of weight. He's a speed
did.
player. So if they put him there, we're going to look to double team and then combo off. We're going to look to double team and combo off to the linebacker. Okay. And so, you know, what that would look like for us is, you know, just a double team so we get that edge right there.
Correct.
And then look to work up here to this linebacker, this scraping linebacker. And then we would be reach. Okay. And then we're going to be out. And then in this situation here, again, we got our guard that's going to wrap, and he's going to look linebacker to safety. And we really want to run the ball. The guard is going to take a look. His path is going to be, you know, if he gets around, he wants to get his hand on the backside of that tackle. If he can turn up as soon as he can, that's good. If this guy ends up crashing down into here, then we're just going to wash it. And we're going to actually go around all of that mess to the outside. But generally what happens is we get a vertical push right here on this double team, and then we come off to this great linebacker. It ends up being like an outside zone play where we just stay connected and take them where they want to go. And then on the, you know, in that particular case, we're going to get on that guard's hip and then turn it upfield. If, you know, right now we wouldn't run it to that strong side because our numbers are so much better to this side. And you can say, well, how are they any better over here in this situation? And it is because even though this defense is somewhat balanced and they've brought in their strong safety down here, for us on this side over here, from a counting standpoint, this guy's going to block number 1, okay? And then this guy's going to block number 2. And this guy blocks 2, or he's going to block 2 or 3, okay? And what I mean by that is we're reaching, okay? We're reaching. We're going to be out on, you know, whatever leverage that's going to be. And then the guard is always wrapping and looking inside. Okay, we would number it, you know, in this case, we would number 1, 2, and then the safety being 3. And in this situation, we get the extra blocker out of this fullback. So when we get the ball in the jet sweep, we're going to belly back and use this fullback as our escort. Okay, and that's how this jet sweep to the nub side ends up being so much better. Now, if they're rocking out, with motion, and this defensive end is slanting out to stop our jet sweep, or he's aligned wide. In that case, in that scenario, we can do a couple different things. We can pin and pull. Okay. We can pin and pull and then go tackle out and guard out, and they'd make a warrior call in that situation. Or we would adjust and run our ISO. We'd check at the line because that guy's taking himself out with his width, and then we would just check and run our ISO right here with the jet motion, if that makes sense.
Makes a lot of sense.
Okay, so that's just how we would counter any kind of difference. But in this particular play, so kind of wanted to show this formation because of the things it allows us to do. The other thing we do is we run our wham toss play. And our wham toss play is our jet back goes in motion. Jet back goes in motion, and we would, same idea. We're going to double team, and we're going to come down, and we are going to double team the 5. So we're going to have 2 double teams. We're going to climb to this scrape, and then we're going to climb to the middle, and the jet back is going to be our kick out. Okay. He's going to kick out end man line of scrimmage, and then we're going to wrap. We're going to cut. We're going to wrap front side guard. Okay, we're going to wrap front side guard, and then this kid is going to get it on the toss.
Okay.
And that can be done either way too. So that formation just provides a lot of people got to figure out how they want to play that wicked split. Are they going to play it wide? Then our ISO game or trap game widens out, or widens the lanes for our running. So that's been a good one for us.
That's nasty. This nasty split with a guy outside presents such problems.
It does because you got to decide on what you want to do defensively. So we get all kinds of look. We'll get like if this is their force, if this is their force, and he's down here at that point, because they've brought their strong safety down to add to that numbers, the play action game becomes stealing. What I'm saying? Because now at this point, from an eligibility standpoint, you have an eligible receiver here that's going vertical, and you have an eligible receiver here going on the wheel. And in this particular wham toss play, we would run jet, and this guy just runs an arrow, and we fake the toss here, and then we read vertical coverage. So if this corner stays down to be a run defender, we know we got the wheel for a home run, right? If the corner then sinks off, we've got the arrow, but they can't defend it unless they have that corner down there in the run game. And when he's down here in the run game, then we get some easy stuff because this guy comes down and then releases vertical. He sees a run coming at him, and then we've already got him beat, from a width standpoint.
I got to tell you, I think offensively, one of the things we try to do, and it's when you are attacking the flank and you're getting people to move and you're getting one high, there's things you can do in the play action game that are just, it's horrendous to try to defend. And
it is.
The play chunks are huge. Play
chunks are huge.
That's outstanding. Let me ask you this. You're inside the 10. What type of things other than this do you look to do?
I mean, we get inside the 5, we go into double tight full house and double lead and just run you over.
Okay.
But we are more likely, to be honest with you, when we get down there, we're going to bring our X back over to where he belongs.
Yeah.
And still have a similar formation. Okay. And now we're going to go nasties on both sides.
I like that.
Okay. And then in this particular case, we would go with our wham toss with one of these guys going in motion, and then, checking at the line of scrimmage, again, for us down on the line of scrimmage, you get this look right here, Foxy, where he's down. This kid is always going to be down. Okay. So you're kind of building that wall, and you get the double team on the 5, and then tackle or whoever, depending on how the end's going to play it. but you have this kick out block by the Z, and then
Yeah.
you have the guard up and through on the safety, and we'll run that off tackle play. So, they see the jet motion, they start rocking out a little bit and doing some things. It doesn't really hurt us. And again, for them, how they're going to attack that nasty split, are they going to send a guy in here? That's fine. We'll just wash it down, and then go outside of that there.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So the other thing we would do is we would check at the line of scrimmage down at the goal line, and we would line up. We would line up with this look. Yeah. This guy down. Our tight end just got a little bit bigger.
It's okay.
We would line up with this look where kind of a wing T.
Red and blue, or wings. We want.
Yeah. Yeah. Down on the goal line, we're likely to check power this side. Okay. So this side right here, this side right here would be a power or buck sweep to this side.
Uh-huh.
And then to this side over here, we would run what we'd call bounce pitch crack. And basically what that means is we're just checking at the line of scrimmage to see if they're going to overplay our tight end wing side. And if they do, you're probably going to get this look right here. We're not going to run power to. We're going to go bounce pitch crack. And what bounce pitch crack is going to be a no motion play, and we're going to crack that whoever might be in the alley right there, and we're going to lead out on the corner, and we're going to wrap our guard, and we're going to toss it to the fullback down there when they overplay that side and just go out that. And again, our tackles reach all the time, and our guards pull a lot. So you know what I mean.
Yeah.
The schemes are very similar.
Yeah.
And it's a ton of pin and pull, but it just gets the ball in our athletes' hands and allows us again to just kind of get in space and manipulate the numbers a little bit from side to side. And again, if you get, as you can see, Coach, if this guy all of a sudden starts to widen the ISO lane, then you run an ISO up in there, and you've got yourself something really nice there as well. So we're just going back and forth with an inside-outside game.
Now, are you when you choose your personnel, this guy, that fullback kid, he's your guy, isn't he?
This guy right here.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's probably our running back. He says F, but he's more than likely our H. We've been blessed to have. The beauty of our offense is our two primary backs are generally F and H.
Yeah.
And this F guy is going to get a ton of touches. But the H and Z guys are generally our jet guys. So toughest thing about the offense is to get a good enough size running backs to play up there on the edge. And that's why we try to support them as much as possible. It's not like these guys have to do a ton. They're generally doing down blocks, right? And if we're running jet sweep, they're going to let the force player go where he wants to go. So it's not like we're going to try to dominate with these kids. But when you get bigger backs, it's nice.
It is. It is. Excellent. All right, man. Let's come back here. Good. Let's get into something. Let's talk a little defense for just a second. Schematically, you're playing someone. What's the scheme you hate the most to see? And not that you don't defend it well, but it's just like I'll give an example. We play a couple teams that are going to get into that full house T double wing crap.
Uh-huh.
And God bless them. We defend. Sometimes we defend it very well. Sometimes we don't. But I know it's a grind because it's all fundamentals all week long. And it's a grind because it puts you in a spot where schematically there's not a ton of things you can do. What schemes, when you look at when you're going to defend, you're just like, oh crap.
There's not there. Because we've played in our league and in the Chicagoland area, it's been predominantly spread, so that's easy.
Yeah.
Double tight, double wide because you're adding two gaps. It's hard for us. We have to adjust our front. It's really the only thing that forces us to adjust our fronts with a team that can RPO.
12 personnel, you mean? 2 tight ends, double flanker?
Yeah.
That hurts us
12
too.
personnel, and they go RPO, and they have, a quarterback, because we can't balance up to that in a 3 shell. So obviously we're going to have to do some type of 2 high. And in doing that, we end up, falling into a, we'll get out of our 3-3 occasionally, and that, we played Loyola Academy in the playoffs, and we had to jump into more of a 42 look, and even a 52 look at times, depending on what the personnel was. But we have to be able to do that because, and it's not all the time, but if it's a team that can really gash us on the inside zone, we don't worry about anything perimeter-wise from the run standpoint, but it's that inside game that can become a problem because it's hard for us to defend, that C gap. It's hard to defend the C and D gap with our stacks and having a free safety coming downhill hard. So from a coverage standpoint, we have to be too high. So we'll go from quarters to cover 2. We get out of our 3 shell to be safe. But if the team doesn't throw it very much, we gamble sometimes and play it. But that's a formation that nasty.
We had that. We went over and played flipping Elliot Uzelak. He's like 88 years old. He just took a new head coaching job. I don't know if you remember Elliot. Elliot was the head coach at Navy. He was Bo's offensive coordinator. He's been all over the place. And we had him on film, and they had a good team. And we thought they had 1 tight end and 1 imposter, and they brought a kid that we hadn't seen before that he was a mountain, and they just bled us into the boundary with the stretch scheme against what we were doing. And that was an issue. That is a tough scheme. Very good. Very good. All right, man, let me ask you this. You and I spent a lot of time on the road at Glacier Clinics. Okay?
Yeah.
And, you're there, and a lot of times you and I, we go hide because we're just tired. Okay? But if you want to have a beer with anybody in the football world, sit down and talk to them, present company excluded. All right, who's it going to be? And why?
Honestly, it would probably be Saban. It's not for the obvious reason. Saban, we're similar a lot in defense from a defensive standpoint, and or even Kirby Smart, but probably Saban. And I think it's twofold for me with Saban. One is I think he's a brilliant defensive guy, and I think that he believes in the same things that we believe in at Glenbard West, is running the ball and being physical. And
well, I brought him into the bar to help you tonight.
Hey, I let it say.
You wanted to see him.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I think that the way he pattern matches on defense, we follow it almost to a T, and it's allowed us not to have to play man to man because we can't.
Right.
We're just not going to have. We don't have that skill set necessarily to be able to play man, and it's not our philosophy to man up. We just would rather.
Yeah.
And so I think from that standpoint, and how there's no doubt he's an incredible recruiter, and just how he builds his culture.
Yeah. Yeah. That would be a rare catch if you got a chance to talk to him. Now I got a couple things. You're going to like this question, Chad. Okay. In football, okay, there's some things that piss me off a ton. Okay. I'll give you an example. Okay. I can't stand Bobby, I'll poach your kids and steal your athletes guy who builds his program that way and thinks he's a great coach. It annoys the shit out of me. I gotta be honest. There was a time when we were out in Milford, we were like 31-4, and I didn't get one transfer in 4 years, and guys are bringing in 9, 12 guys. I don't know how they came in. That pisses me off. What pisses you off about the game right now?
Well, what you mentioned, it ticks me off because, it just happens. And, us being a public school, it's a little bit, you see it. So you got to protect your boundaries. with your kids. But what ticks me off is really from being a defensive minded guy, how these RPO teams are allowed to run their offensive. I mean, their tackles are check down receivers at about 7 yards downfield.
Well, they're open.
Yeah.
They're open. Throw them the damn
Yeah.
ball.
Yeah. I find it tough to really embrace it. And so, I've never really, I felt it's a communist thing, where they allow the, the lineman, because it really screwed with all of our reads. That's why I hate it the most. You know what I mean? Because you get that hard run read for your safety and perimeter guys.
It changed for us. It changed how we had to defend thing in the back end. When we'd
Yeah.
be poaching number 3, we were always reading high hat, low hat, or the end man on the line of scrimmage back to number 3. Well, hell, he's down the field now, and so now we need number 3 back. And it's a different deal. We've embraced it. It's a big part of our offense. It's going to become a bigger part of our offense. And I think I don't know. I think if the ball comes out in rhythm, it looks really good. But when the ball doesn't come out in rhythm, you're gonna have all 5 downfield. And
yeah, I think and I think it can be extremely successful. I also think that some people get so far wrapped up into the RPO. There's a couple of games where we were trailing, and they continued to allow their quarterback to make the reads, and we just made some coverage adjustments where we were jumping late into a coverage and picked the ball off, and they were up 10. They were up 10 in the fourth quarter. They could have just ran the ball. They were having success running the ball because we were playing the pass, and
I don't know why people don't take them off. I mean, there's a time when we just tell our quarterback, the RPOs are off, and we won't call the vertical ones, but the ones with width, we're not going to run. We're just not going to run. And I think that's really good. All right, man. I want your secret. Tell me about Glenbard West. What's one secret about Glenbard West? What other than the one thing is, I know your kids are physically do a great job in the weight room. What else about your kids? Can you tell me?
Foxy, we're blessed to have some really high academic kids, and with that allows us to do a lot more offensively and defensively. Particularly on offense, we do a lot of check at the line of scrimmage where we could have multiple plays called in. Maybe power to the right and jet to the left, and much like an RPO team, have our access or any kind of vertical play action game. It just in the kids to be able to run that allows us to be successful. And then from a defensive standpoint, once we get on the field, I'm probably calling about 10% of our defense. Our kids are making all the checks. Now I'm probably trying to call about 20 to 30%, but they don't hear me or see me, because I get, when you're playing these teams and especially when they make any kind of adjustment late, but everything is built in for us defensively. So our kids do a great job of studying the game. So I think a secret for us is, we are looking to spend an hour and 15 on the football field when we get into season. An hour 15 to hour 45, and when we're in the playoffs, we don't want to be on the field more than an hour and 15. We feel like that's way too long. But with that being said, we're going to be spending an hour in the film room. And the other thing I would say with that secret is that we film everything just like everybody else does, but us, we watch ourselves against the scout team more than we watch the opposing team film, if that makes sense.
Self-evaluation.
We're watching that to see what's working during the week. So I think secret is just our kids really buy into the mental part of the game.
All right, last question, my man. Then I'll let you go back to your family. What's your favorite Glenbard West football event that's not a game?
Event, huh?
Yeah, we all have them. Something you do.
like tied into our football program?
Yeah, ours is the caveman cookout.
Yeah. I would tell you, this has nothing to do with me. It's tradition over the years. But our school is built. Our school's built like there's two buildings. There's an academic building. There's an athletic building. It's the top of the hill. That's why they're called the Hilltoppers. And the road leads down to the football stadium. And our football stadium is one of the only stadiums in Illinois that doesn't have lights. We only play on Saturdays. We have grass. We're one of the only grass fields. It sits on a picturesque lake, and the school's in the backdrop as a castle with turrets and everything.
Really?
And our kids walk down the hill, and the drummers lead us down this hill into this beautiful, and the stadium hasn't been updated in years, but the fact that, it sets in this picturesque area, it's absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. And it's, when we walk down that hill and the drummers are leading us, I don't think there's, even the state championship games. I mean, there's nothing more that gives me chills than that. And then the kids talk about it as well, just being able to walk down that hill because it's lined with parents and former players all the way to the stadium. And it's a good, half block walk. And that's really pretty cool.
That's outstanding. That's outstanding. Well, listen, my man, I really appreciate your time tonight. I'll have this edited up, and sometime tomorrow night I'll post it on my at PEFG Defense Twitter account. You can link into it and listen. I don't think I even have to do too much editing. It was outstanding. I hope everything's okay, and God willing, let's hope we get on the field soon, my man.
All right, brother. Thanks, Foxy. Take care.
Great to see you. In the words of our man Griff, hey, man, be good.
See you, man.
Yeah, well, I'm going where the grass is grown and a sparkling wine flows from a hose by the river at supper time. The weather gets a little bit better as the day goes by. The girls fight for the right and the pleasure of midnight. Hey, I'm from nowhere that you carry